What's up, average Star fans? Welcome back to another video, and today it's the review you've been waiting for. The full review, with all the points included, of the VIVO X100 Ultra. Let's go. Now, this might be one of the hardest reviews I've ever had to do. And there's one reason. I firmly believe, my personal humble opinion, the VIVO X100 Ultra is the best Android phone ever made. And I know I wax lyrical about many phones because I'm a huge phone fanboy. I love mobile phones, and as the months and years progress, the technology gets better. But on the candy bar side of things, heck, even the foldable side of things, can we all just appreciate one more time VIVO? Absolutely killing the game. Now, the full review will consist of the usual 5 categories. That's design, build quality, software, cameras, and price. And throughout the review, I'll give you my experience and talk about the display and the battery life and my real life performance tests. But I have to start by saying this is also so frustrating as a device, and all VIVO devices that aren't released globally have this same frustration for me. I am watching the Euro 2024 football championships at the moment, and if any of you watching this are also watching that, you will have seen VIVO branding plastered everywhere. And that's what frustrates me. There's basically no global VIVO phone. So what the hell are they doing advertising during the Euros? To my knowledge, there is no European VIVO phone. Slightly confused. In fact, I was going to say the X100 Pro. No, in Europe, there is no VIVO X series released. Yet, they keep plastering advertisements about VIVO at the Euros advertising the X series. So wrap your head around that. But you can also let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is an X series device that is released in Europe. Not the X100 Pro, that was a Hong Kong model that got a global ROM. Not the X Fold 3 Pro, that's an Indian variant, not European. So let me know in the comments if I'm missing something. First category, design. And I've said it once and I'm going to say it again now. I love a large camera bump centered on the rear of a device, especially when it houses the biggest and best cameras on any smartphone, bar none. Fact, you heard it here, don't debate, and we'll talk about the cameras more in depth during the camera category. But design-wise, I love it. It's white, titanium, or grey. The grey is a more frosted back. The white and titanium, which I have both here, are very, very smooth. However, there are more sticky cases included, like a silicone plasticky feeling. Not the most premium, however. I do have a video coming soon on some much needed VIVO X100 Ultra accessories that might pique your interest. All products and the phone is available on the Average Dad Tech Store. So finishing off, the white variant design I have is the aluminium frame. The sides, the top and the bottom look super clean, and no surprises here, but I love the design of this phone. However, I have to keep it honest, I wish there was a vegan leather backed one. Even if they just use the same material that they have on the Pro variant for the white, I would have been delighted, because the smooth, for someone like me that doesn't like to rock a case, is very, very slippery. So to this day, the best designed Android phone in my opinion is still the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. However, I will give the VIVO 4 points out of 5. Now, build quality. It's just as well the build quality is so damn good because this phone is very slippy, to the point where I have dropped it, luckily for me, on a carpet floor and on the grass, while actually filming this B-roll. And obviously it was grass, it was carpet, the phone was totally fine. But glass protection wise, it's not Gorilla Glass, it's Vivo's own proprietary. I think they jokingly, maybe seriously call it King Kong Rhinoceros. Ultimately, I am sure it is absolutely perfect for drop tests, but I'll not be doing that. And glass is glass, and you know what happens, don't you, Jerry? As far as the other ingress protection, it's IP68 water and dust resistance. I actually read IP69, I'm not quite sure if that's accurate. I also don't really know the difference, but IP68 water and dust resistance is the hallmark of a well-built phone. You can drown it in a pool for an hour, no issues. You could take it in the sea and deep sea dive with it, to be quite honest. However, the 68 rating doesn't actually give it that protection, but for a flagship candy bar phone, this is up there with the best of them. And as mentioned, it's aluminium, no titanium here. So does that mark it down in build quality for me? No, it doesn't. Glass sandwich, aluminium, what more do you want? Build quality, let's go for a solid 4.5 out of 5. I guess for me, the only phone that I'll ever get 5 out of 5 for build quality is one that will promise me that the glass will never break. And I doubt that's ever going to happen. So until then, 4.5 out of 5 is pretty much the best score any phone's going to get. Now, moving on to software. And this is around with Chinese ROM phones that sometimes splits people. It sometimes holds phones back. But with the Vivo, and I'm delighted to say everything I am about to say about the Vivo software, the majority of it, counts on all modern Chinese phones. So let's start with the stuff that doesn't count for all. Let's talk about Origin OS. Origin OS is my favourite Android skin, just behind Samsung's One UI. People ask me why. I love the Origin widgets. I love the fluidity, the customization you can have for the AOD, the lock screen, the wallpapers, the transitions, the animations, the system effects, the sounds, the charging. Everything can be tweaked to your heart's content, and it is all done so snappy. Now, another thing that you should do when you get your Chinese ROM devices, set your phone to 120 Hz. But please, and I'm going to do another setup video and talk you through exactly what I do with my phone, but please remember, any new app you download, you may and most likely will have to go into display settings, refresh rate, high, individual apps, and toggle on every new app you've downloaded to support a locked 120 Hz. Because by default, they're going to be locked at 60 Hz. Now, Origin OS is fantastic. Let's talk about the things about this Chinese ROM that is now true of all. Google services. The Google service framework has been baked into all Chinese ROMs, apart from Huawei, for years now. However, to install the Google Play Store, you had to download an APK. Well, having now owned a recent and modern Vivo, Xiaomi, Honor, Oppo, they all have the Google Play Store directly, natively in their native app store. So for all those asking and still messaging saying, how do I get a Google Play Store? Simply search Google Play Store in your phone's app store and it will appear. Other than Huawei, we've talked about that. I'm not going to mention it again. And before I give this a score, I also want to talk about my use case for the VIVO X100 Ultra. This phone caters for my work, my business, and my social life all in one. So it has to work perfectly with a lot of different and unique apps that most people might not use. Namely, banking apps, the Shopify app, the shop app, and a few other bits and bobs scattered around there. And I am pleased to say, without any workaround, from WhatsApp and Instagram to the Shopify and Metal Business Banking app, everything works seamlessly. Autofill with Google works perfectly, so you don't have to remember your passwords. When you get a text message with a verification code, it autofills. All the little things that you get from a global ROM that you never used to get so seamlessly with a Chinese ROM are now gone. The issues have removed. I have not even gone into the notifications section to toggle on auto start for each app I download. I haven't changed any battery settings to get all apps to give me notifications, because straight out the box, I get my notifications. Things have been changing recently with Chinese ROMs to be aligned more like a global ROM. The ideal being that one day soon, there is just one ROM. It's global, and that's it. So, talked about software longer than I expected, but it's important I do talk about it because it's the biggest deciding factor for a lot of you watching. And software-wise, for the VIVO, 4.5 out of 5. Only the Samsung can get a 5 out of 5 right now, but this is goddamn close. And now the penultimate round. The round that you want to hear all about. The cameras. This is a camera with a phone attached to it. We've said that about devices in the past, like the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, the 12S Ultra, the Oppo. But never has that phrase been truer. So much so that VIVO used it in their marketing. It's a camera that has a phone attached. The triple camera setup on this Ultra phone is the best camera setup by far. It's not even close to its competitors in some aspects. And the biggest reason for that for me is the zoom lens. Now, we'll talk about it soon, but the main lens is the Sony LYT 900. It's the best, latest Sony sensor. It's a 1-inch type sensor. It lets in the most light. It has the best aperture. It produces the best images. And paired with the Zeiss lenses, you can go for natural or vivid or standard. There's also VIVO's baked-in photo styles. Like the software on the rest of the phone, the camera app has so many different options for you to make sure you're getting the best out of your photos and videos. And when we talk about videos, all lenses support 120 frames per second, which at 4K, which if you don't know means slow motion can be buttery smooth, keeping the highest quality. There's 8K on the lenses as well at 30 frames per second, not a frame rate or resolution I use, but it's there if you want to. Same with the front-facing camera. It's the best selfie camera, I believe, included on any Chinese phone ever made. And somebody can fact check me, but I think sensor size and the 50 megapixels is the best selfie camera, and it's 4K 60 frames per second straight out the box. Everything about this camera setup just screams class and professionalism. Until today, there wasn't a 5 out of 5 camera. The Oppo X100 Ultra was the next best, and I believe I gave that 4.5 out of 5. Folks, I have no skin in the game. The average dad tech store sells the 14 Ultra, the X100 Ultra, the X100 Ultra from VIVO. So I'm not making any of this up. I don't want to drive sales. I don't need to. When I say that this is a 5 out of 5 camera, just ask in the comments. There's at least 10 members in the WhatsApp group chat that have ordered an X100 Ultra through me, and they all say the same thing. They are just blown away by the photography. And I agree. Hence why it's 5 out of 5 for photography. And then the final round is price. For everything I've talked about, the build quality, the design, the cameras, the software, you can get all of that. Everything I've talked about, depending on the storage you go for £900 to roughly £1,000. That is £300 to £400 cheaper than the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the Samsung S24 Ultra. The only reason this can't get a 5 out of 5 for price is because the Oppo X7 Ultra exists, and it is actually quite a bit cheaper than this. So I have to give this a 4 out of 5 for price. But that's only because it's compared to the X7 Ultra. If that phone didn't exist, this would be a 5 out of 5 compared to the Apple and the Samsung and the Xiaomi as mentioned. I have tried, trust me folks, I have tried to find faults and flaws about this Vivo device. But from the hardware to the software and the cameras and the price, I'm struggling. And that's why today, on the 18th of June, the VIVO X100 Ultra goes to the top of the Average Dad ranking list with an outstandingly great score of, I want to say 22 out of 25, but I'll be honest, I can't really remember what I said. My notes are in the other room. I'll put an asterisk, but it is number one. It's 22, I believe, out of 25. Absolutely mind-blowing. Unless something magnificent happens between now and Christmas. So as always, if you've enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Any phone I've mentioned today other than the Samsung and the iPhone are available in the Average Dad Tech Store. If you become a member of the channel by joining Buy Me a Coffee, you will get 2% off anything you buy at the Average Dad Tech Store. And yes, that includes bank transfer where you get another 4%. So do the maths. You'll get 6% off a device if you become a member. That probably more than pays for even the top tier membership on Buy Me a Coffee. So it's probably worth your while. I'll be back soon with a full comparison between this and a couple of other phones. Until next time.